Let's get into our first story this morning. It says Central Asia's last resilient glaciers hit a tipping point. Researchers from the Institute of Science and Technology, Austria, found that the glaciers in Tajikistan's, I'm very bad at pronunciation, obviously. Pamir Mountains reached its tipping point in 2018, marking the end of the region's anomalous climate resilience. Okay, so on this story, I have everything pulled up by factuality, and you can see that the sorted by factuality here on the Ground News Aggregator. Your top story is from Interesting Engineering with a very high factuality and center leaning. I just want to point that out because I want to refresh this, because when I first pulled this up, the subject was only 2 hours old. It's been a couple hours since I pulled my stories up this morning, but before we do anything, you can see on the bias distribution, it had 80% of the sources coming from the center and 20% coming from the left, because there were only 5 stories total, 4 from the center and 1 from the left. So let's go ahead and just refresh this, just in an effort to be more transparent and see if there's any more reporting on this subject so far. Nope. So it's been 5 hours now, and there's still only 10 articles with, you've got untracked bias of 5 articles, but the bias tracking has 5 coming from the center and 1 coming from the left. So Interesting Engineering has got the highest factuality rating, and it says it's a center-leaning publication. So let's go ahead and get into it. And says, glaciers in the high mountain Asia region known as the Third Pole have long been a mystery, staying stable or even growing while most of the world's glaciers melted. A new study from the Institute of Science and Technology at Austria shows that this period of stability is likely over. It found that the lack of snow is now threatening some of the world's most resilient water towers or glaciers. Insights were gained from a climate station on Tajikistan's Kaizylusu Glacier, a region where observational data has been scarce since the Soviet Union fell. The findings suggest this glacier has likely reached its tipping point in 2018. Stationed at 3,400 meters above sea level. Glaciers everywhere, including those in the Alps and the Andes, God, I have not had enough caffeine this morning. I'm just going to take a sip of my not a sponsor Tubes Juneberry Red Bull and start from the beginning there again. Glaciers everywhere, including those in the Alps and Andes, are melting at a worrisome speed due to climate change. But those in Pamir and Karakoram mountains in Central Asia have defied global trends, remaining stable or even growing. This unexpected stability was known as the Pamir-Karakoram anomaly. ISTA professor Francesca Pelliciotti stated that scientists don't yet fully understand what's made the region's glaciers so resilient to climate change. To investigate this, the research team established a new climate station on the glacier in northwestern Pamir in 2021. It's roughly 3,400 meters above sea level. It's becoming a benchmark monitoring site due to various observational sites recently established on and around the glacier, said Achille Jubruatin, the study's first author. Using the collected information along with climate data, the team created computational models to stimulate the glacier's behavior from 1999 to 2023. The computational model revealed that the glacier's behavior changed around 2018. This was a major tipping point where a lack of snowfall began to impact the glacier's health negatively. Due to the general lack of data and robust future projects in the region, we can't yet tell whether this was truly a point of no return for the glacier. However, the model, which simulated the area's climate, snowpack, and water movements, consistently pointed to 2018 as the start of a new, less healthy phase for the glacier. Moreover, increased glacier melt is now making up for about a third of water loss due to less precipitation. The catchment feeds the Amu Dare River, a major Central Asian river whose water is almost entirely glacier-fed. The river was a primary water source for the RLC, which is largely dried up due to diversion of its 2 main rivers to irrigate Soviet-era cotton fields. But the effects of the glaciers are strongest in their immediate ecosystems. Even though the glacier and likely other Pamir glaciers seem to be melting faster and pumping more water into the system, it's unlikely that they will refill what's left of the RLC, said Jaborton. The establishment of the climate station required extensive efforts. It was established by the ISTA team in collaboration with researchers from Tajikistan, Switzerland, Australia, and France. All right. Researchers regularly traveled to these remote mountains carrying equipment and working alongside local scientists and inhabitants. In the final trip this summer, the team automated this monitoring network and trained local inhabitants on how to maintain the equipment. This will make research much more sustainable and reduce the need for frequent visits. The findings were published in Communications and Earth Environment on September 2nd. All right, so that's not great news. Hey, thanks for checking out this video from Nightly News this morning. If you wouldn't mind, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a video or when we go live on Tuesdays and Fridays.